In this section, we're going to talk a bit about coding standards and how they relate to the theming layer in Drupal. Now, the way that a theme differs from a module when it comes to code is that not only do we have logic, but we also have HTML files that include some simple PHP logic within them, and we also have CSS files. So understanding where the coding standards start and end for the theming layer can help you make some of the decisions about how you structure some of that code. When it comes to logic, which you'll see mostly in the template.php file, the PHP follows all of the same conventions as PHP code for module building. So if you look at the videos on coding standards, all of those will apply. Now, where things start to vary is when we work with template files and CSS files. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these theming-specific coding standards in the context of some Drupal core code, so we can see how it's being used in practice. And this is always a great way to measure what you're thinking about doing or the way that you're planning on structuring your code against some real-world examples. So go ahead and open up your Drupal site folder and expand the themes folder. And in the Bartik theme, let's go ahead and open up in the templates folder the page.tpl.php file. Now this is the template file that wraps the code for a Drupal page. I'm going to scroll up to the top here. Okay, let's go ahead and just start at the top and look at some of the different points where there's something interesting to learn about coding standards. So at the top here, you see that we have some commenting going on, and this is the same structure that we'd use within a module context as well. And this is Doxygen style. You see there's information about this particular file, and it's prefaced with an @ file on its own line. And then it goes into the available variables for this template file. Now, to find these variables without it being explicitly listed in the comments would require putting some code inside of a pre-processing function or inside of this template file in order to render all of the variables that are available to it. So this is a great, useful tool, something that you should definitely do inside of any template files that you add in order to give themers, or the people who adjust these particular files, a clue as to what they have available to work with. Now notice that this splits out the variables into several categories. We have general utility variables, site identity, and navigation. And so depending on the complexity of your template file, you may want to separate these out to make it easier to reference. On each line is a variable name, starting with the $, because that's an indicator that this is a variable, and a description as to what this variable is for. So you see base path, and the description indicates that this is the base UR path of the Drupal installation, as well as some additional data maybe about it that might be useful to know. So let's go ahead and scroll down. We have lots and lots of variables going on here, so it's definitely a good use case for splitting those up. Here we have some additional information about a specific variable. For the page template, there's going to be a multitude of regions, and so this gives us an indicator about which regions are aligned with what type of content, or at least their intentional content. So the header here is for items for the header region, the featured is for items in the featured region. And we'll talk about regions in a future video if you're not sure what they are, but they're basically chunks of a page where blocks can be ordered within that region, and then the regions can be toggled on and off based on the content inside of them or the context of the page itself. So this lists out all of the available regions and gives some descriptions about them as well. And then towards the bottom of these comments, we have several pre-processing functions that are listed. So these are all the ones that apply to this particular template. We have template pre-process page, and template process, of which all three will apply to any page.tpl.php file in any theme, because these are the general pre-processing functions. But then this particular theme adds to the pre-process process by including a process function, bartick process page, which will occur in the template.php file. So when a user is looking at this and they're trying to figure out where a particular variable is being modified, they can simply look at this list of pre-processing functions and easily have a clue as to where it might be in the theming layer.